The first time I set foot on a college campus was back in the year 2000. I was 14 years old, I was a freshman in high school, and I was on a field trip to the University of California in Riverside. I had 3 questions on my mind that day. One was, is there any skateboarding obstacles at this school? I was into skateboarding back then. I thought I would be for the rest of my life. Number 2 was, where's the game room? Right? I had no intentions of participating in this cute little field trip. I had no intentions of being a good little boy and doing what I was told. Obviously, I was going to go off and do my own thing, like any cool kid, rebellious teenager would. And number 3, this is what I thought was most important, was what do the girls look like? That's what every teenage dude thinks college is really about, right? It's about the girls, it's about the partying, it's about the booze, woohoo! Right? It's safe to say that my mind was completely out of whack back then. It was focused on everything fun and exciting and completely unconcerned with everything academic. And unfortunately, that would set the tone for the next 10 unproductive years of my life. You see, my mind was out of shape. It was like a physical body that had never been to the gym, that had never worked out. It could function and it would even show promise at times. You know, people would say, hey man, you're actually really smart. Hey man, you have a lot of potential. Hey, if you only apply yourself, you never know. We've all heard stuff like that, right? But I was out of shape. And it wouldn't be until the year 2012 until I finally got to work. I finally got my mind on that treadmill and started to change. Yes, that was the year that I went back to school. But more importantly, that was the year that I adopted 4 different ideas, 4 foci that completely changed my life. They recalibrated the way I thought and taught me, even though my instincts always led me to the wrong path, they taught me how to make better decisions. Since then, I've transformed these foci into an acronym. It's called BEIT. B-E-I-T. It stands for Behavioral Goodness, Economic Growth, Inspirational Influence, and Truthful Communication. Now, since we have limited time today, I'm only going to talk about that first one, behavioral goodness. I'm going to tell you how I can do 2 things. Help you in the classroom. We all want good grades, right? And also how it can help condition your mind for the future when stuff actually really begins to matter. So first, I got to give you a little bit of a background. I got to tell you where behavioral goodness came from, what it means, and why it was so instrumental to my progress, why I still focus on it today. So it's worth mentioning up front that if there's any one of these BEIT components that absolutely has to be there, that's imperative to the whole philosophy, it's this one, it's behavioral goodness. Because just like the acronym reads, be it, like a command, behavior connotes something of an obligation, right? It's the action. It's the action that all of our thinking, all of our training, all of our preparation, all of our education, all of that stuff goes into. It's the real stuff. It's the real deal. And so it has the most consequence. Thinking is one thing, doing, behaving is quite another. Picture like this. You can think the most evil, the most vile, the most disgusting, the most despicable, the most sadistic things imaginable. You can be the worst person that ever existed up here. But unless you transmit those thoughts into reality, then perhaps the only victim is you. And likewise, you can think the most benevolent, the most caring, the most generous, the most honest things imaginable. You could be the best person that ever existed up here. But if you forget to act, then perhaps the only beneficiary is you. See where I'm going with this? This is behavioral goodness. And the reason we have to think about this as an imperative is because it helps you do 2 things. One, it recognizes that we are all imperfect, right? That we make mistakes, that sometimes our instincts are flawed. And even if they're not, even if we are technically a good person up here, then perhaps there still is a lot of work that needs to be done. Maybe our self-perceptions are a little bit too generous. And number 2, it gives us all a second choice. It gives us a second chance. It sets up a checkpoint between that crazy, self-serving things that is us in our mind and what we choose to show the rest of the world, the person that we actually want to be in real life, the self that we fashion to be successful and extraordinary. And this is why I call it behavioral goodness, because at that checkpoint, you have to make a choice. You can choose whether to transmit your craziness out into reality. You can choose not to do anything to keep all of those positive thoughts right there for yourself. Or, if you get to work, now if you get on the treadmill, you can condition your mind to make the right choices, even when you don't feel like it, even when it's not expected from you. Why? Because those decisions are what separate the truly successful, extraordinary view from everyone else, everyone who's just getting by. And that's not why we go to college, right? Just to get by. We do this to be successful and extraordinary individuals. Raise your hand if you want to be successful. Right? Good. All right. You're on the right track. You got the right thinking. How do we do that? What does behavioral goodness say to do in the classroom? I want to share with you here in a little bit my 2 strategies that have absolutely been most crucial to my success in my academic life. One has to do with your behavior with your classroom assignments, and the other one has to do with your behavior in the classroom itself. First, I want to talk about the assignments, just by themselves, right? There's 2 kinds of assignments that college students seem to hate, to despise the most. One of them is papers, right? You got your 5-page essays, you got your 10-page research reports, you got 70 to 100-page master's theses, you got 150 to 200-page doctoral dissertations. It gets lengthy and ugly, folks. Be honest, all right? Raise your hand if you hate writing papers. All right? Oh my goodness. You're in trouble if you come here. They make you write until your fingers bleed. It is insane. But it's like that everywhere, right? There's another assignment that everyone hates, right? You have presentations. You have your 1 to 2 minute introductory speeches. You have your 8 to 10 minute persuasive speeches. You got 20 to 30 minute group projects, PowerPoint presentations. Be honest. Raise your hand if you hate public speaking, right? Oh, okay. All right. Maybe you guys should just join the military instead, right? There's a Navy base not too far from here, right? No, I'm joking. No, it's completely normal to be afraid of public speaking. In fact, one of my favorite quotes is by Mark Twain. I learned about this in my first communication class I took at community college with Professor Estrella Romero. Twain said that there's 2 kinds of public speakers. Those who are nervous and those who are liars. And he was right, because the surveys say, even still today, that more people are afraid of public speaking than death itself. People would rather die than get on a microphone in front of a group of people. That's interesting, right? I personally don't want to die. I'll do this. I'll do the eulogies if everybody else. But I want to make a distinction. I want to make a distinction between fear and hate, because while there is plenty to fear about writing these lengthy papers, about giving these scary presentations, there's actually nothing to hate. This hate is what I could consider an advantage. Because when you get to college, you're going to have a bunch of seemingly meaningless, hokey little writing assignments, speaking assignments that no one takes seriously. You're going to have these writing assignments where you have to go online and you do a blog entry, or you do a discussion post response to somebody else who wrote something, or you have these little 1-page reflections that you do about some article that you were supposed to read and probably didn't. And no one takes them seriously. They are garbage. I have read my classmates' work here and at the community college level, and they are terrible. I don't mean to criticize. It's not because these people are dumb. Most of the people here are much smarter than me. But it's because everyone treats them like they're hokey little writing assignments for a class and nothing else. This is your advantage. I'll tell you about that in a second. You're also going to have the speeches, the presentations, the group projects that require oral communication. And again, just like those writing assignments, no one takes them seriously. I have heard more of these than I can count, and they are terrible. I'm telling you, and again, it's not because the students are dumb. It's because they don't care. It's completely obvious. They put them together at the very last minute. They're treating it like a hokey little speech assignment. and they aren't challenging themselves. They're not on the treadmill. This is your advantage. Because if you condition your mind to make the right choice, you will outshine every one of your classmates, and your professors will notice. So how do you do that? What does behavioral goodness say to do specifically? What is the obligation? First up, this is where I'm going to share those two strategies I was talking about. They're absolutely important. They were the number one reasons I am here. They're the reason that I was noticed by most of my professors. They're the reason why I have a handful of amazing letters of recommendation. They're the reason I have 28 professionals listed on my resume, people who would talk me up if someone called them. I'm not trying to brag to you. But I want you to take me seriously with what I'm about to tell you, even if it might seem silly, even if it seems like common sense at first, it works. Okay? With your assignments. First off, that word, assignments, extracted from your vocabulary. You no longer know what assignment means. There are no assignments. Treat every single one of these hokey little writing and speaking projects as if they were the most important jobs you've ever had in your entire life. I am serious. With your writing assignments, convince yourself to believe that it's going to be published in the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times tomorrow. Make it real. Dig deep. Use your power of imagination and possibly actually do it. After you turn that in, you get an A, a B, or a C. Who cares? If you hold yourself to that high level of professionalism, if you're modeling it after the real thing, send it off to a local newspaper. Actually make it happen. At least put it on a blog so that you know that people might see it. And this embarrassment that you'll get, this feet to the fire ordeal will actually make you come up with good original work, not just doing some hokey little assignment. Because everyone else is going to be in class and they'll be freaking out, looking over their syllabus, looking on readingprofessor.com, trying to find out, putting themselves in a little bubble. How do I cater exactly to what this professor wants me to think? How do I come up with exactly what they want me to do? They shrivel up into this little corner of what they can do for one class and just get it done and never think about it ever again. This is your advantage. With your speaking assignments, treat them like they are going to be in front of 1,000 people or more. I'm not joking. When you're filming yourself, as you should be on your webcam, on your iPhone, preparing, practicing it 30, 40, 50 times before the due day, convince yourself. Use your power of imagination. There are 1,000 people watching. Get yourself terrified. Make it real. Think that when you're on that day giving your speech, you're going to film it and put it on YouTube for potentially hundreds, thousands, and millions of people to see. This will make you actually do the real thing. And everyone else is just up there laughing, not taking it seriously, doing some hokey little speech assignment for a class. This is your advantage. Treat your presentations as if they are going to be given at a Fortune 500 company for a board of directors. Make it real, because you know what? In 4, 5, 6 years, this is supposed to be the reality, right? You're supposed to be basing work on supply and demand. You're trying to get people to buy a product or service. You're trying to get people to invest in your ideas. So then why is everyone else treating it like some meaningless assignment? And when they get there on day one, they're completely out of their element. They're completely out of their environment. They don't know what to do, and you just not be prepared. This is how you have to treat those assignments. What about your behavior in the classroom? First of all, that word, classroom, erase it from your memory. Extract it from your vocabulary. There is no such thing as a classroom. Treat every one of your class meetings as if it was the most climactic interview of your entire life. I don't care if you hate your professors. You're not always going to like your bosses, but it's your job to win them over. It's your job to find a way. Want to know how you do that? Want to know a good, easy behavior that works every single time? Listen to this. Every single time your professor asks for a volunteer, for someone to go first, you send your hand skyrocketing into there. You be the very first one. If someone narrowly beats you, jump out of your seat. Stand up. Take that volunteer chance away from them. Steal the limelight. The limelight is yours every single time. It's mine. I'm serious. And then watch. Watch. Watch your professors and your classmates start scratching their head, freaking out. wondering how to deal with this new hotshot they have in their class. They're not always going to like you, but they'll know you. That's a promise. This is the treadmill, folks. This is the treadmill. Because just like working out, it's not as easy as it sounds, right? You are going to have people fight you on this every step of the way. Just like when you adopt a new healthy lifestyle, you make New Year's resolutions, some of the closest people to you fight you on it. They try to sabotage you because they like you the way they are. They don't want you to change. You make them feel bad about themselves, so they want to make you feel goofy. It's weird. They do it when you start acting like this in class. Your friends will sabotage you. They'll tell you to cut corners. They'll tell you, recycle papers. Hey, remember what you did for that one sociology class? Hey, reuse that for English. Or hey, remember that project for psychology 1? Hey, just redo that. Hey, you already did it. Why do it again? Right? This is my favorite one. They say, you guys probably heard this. Just BS, man. Just BS. Right? BS. Could you imagine if they did this in the professional world? Picture this. Picture 2 firefighters. They come on scene and there's a burning building, right? There's smoke coming out, it's about to go up in flames. There's people in there. And one of them says to me, hey Jack, hey, I was up late last night and the boys, they want to go out and have some drinks tonight again. Hey, when you get in there and fight, those people are so gone on fumes, they're so intoxicated, they're acting down, you remember that dang thing. Just BS, man. Just BS, right? Or picture an operating room. Picture an emergency surgery, right? And picture the anesthesiologist saying to the doctor, hey Jill, hey, I got this guy so locked up on morphine and lidocaine and painkillers and gas. He's not going to remember a dang thing when you get there. Just BS, right? Just BS. That's asinine, right? So then why do we train ourselves like this? When we're supposed to be preparing to become professionals, why are we BSing? It's weird. That's goofy. They're not going to be the only ones either. You're going to have teachers inadvertently trying to sabotage you. I'm not joking. They're going to tell you, hey, pick a topic that's kind of easy. Pick something that you can handle. Talk about something that you already know something about. That. Try to talk about something that you're familiar with. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Would this ever happen in real life? I want you to go home. I want you to go home and ask your parents. Ask them if they ever had a job where the boss comes up to them one day and says, bring it in, Dan. Come on, bring it in. Listen now. Listen, Susie and Dan. Hey, today I just want you to pick a task that you're comfortable with, all right? Don't pick anything too hard. Remember that job you did last week? Hey, just do that again. You did great, right? Today, I don't want you to bite off more than you can chew. I don't want anyone overexerting themselves on my dime. Said no employer ever. That would never happen. Hashtag yeah right. Right? And yet they do this. Some teachers treat their classrooms like this. It's weird and it's goofy. Your classmates are going to be the worst. I swear. They will laugh at your extra work. I have been laughed to in my face multiple times. I'll show up all delirious for class in the morning. Say, I stayed up all night last night. I didn't sleep a wink. Say, why? Say, I was working on that paper for 10 hours last night. I'm not exaggerating. 10 hours. Say, what? I did that thing in 2 hours. This guy. They make fun of people when they try to better themselves. It's just like people who make fun when you adopt a healthy lifestyle or start going to the gym. You see this coming out in droves. The haters come out in January, right? They say, look at that guy. Look at that guy with all those muscles. Douchebag. But when they try to take on a new healthy diet, they say, hey, look at that girl over there. Look at that guy. Eating all those vegetables. She knows they taste like crap. Looks like a rat. Come on, George, we got to care. We're going to tend to wax, George. They actually make fun of you when you try to improve yourself. It's weird. They make fun of people who go to the gym. They say, hey, look at that guy. Look at that Bob. Look at all those people in sweating all profusely, breathing all heavy. They're running on a belt. They're not going anywhere, Bob. They look like hamsters. losers. Come on, Bob, let's go get a cheesecake. It's weird. But this is what happens. And I don't want you to listen to them. Do not listen to people like that. They are lying to you. They're lying to you because they're scared of you. Tell them, yes, I'm on a treadmill and I'm getting in shape. I want to tell you how I came to appreciate this kind of behavior. I want to tell you a story time, right? I have this brother, his older brother, he lives in Arizona, and he used to have a painting business, right? He called it Campbell Family Painting, and when I lived out there, I would help him out sometimes on the weekends for a little bit of extra cash, and because when you have an older brother who has a business, then you are temporarily a slave. You know, it's just the way life works. Families love each other unconditionally like that, right? Well, I don't know if any of you have painted anything before. Raise your hand if you painted anything. You right there, you painted something. What'd you paint? Come on, tell us, what'd you paint?
A tree.
All right. Did you have the most fun you ever had in your entire life?
Yes.
Oh, you did? Oh, she's lying. Real painting that's not for decorating. That was probably a fun exercise that you had, right? What? Decorating for a float or something?
Oh, no.
She paints trees up. Hey, you're a better person than me, all right? Seriously, painting is one of the most boring, the most disgusting, the most uncomfortable, tiring things ever, all right? Most people hate it. And sometimes you just want to sit down. Well, my brother, he had this rule. He said that you could never be in an uncomfortable, or you could never be in a comfortable position. He said, if you're in a comfortable position, you're not working hard enough. Well, I didn't know that, right? And on the first day I'm in there, I'm getting a little tired, so I'm in down, and I'm all laid out like this, right? And I'm going to town, right? I am tearing it up, right? When my brother comes in the room, he says, what the hell are you doing? I said, well, I'm playing. He said, no, you're not. You can't be laying down on the floor like that. What are you, painting the Sistine Chapel? You ain't no Michelangelo. Get up. Get uncomfortable. Get to work. Get on the treadmill. And he was right, because if you are in an uncomfortable position the whole time, you're going to be working twice as hard, but your productivity, your output is such that you will finish and get paid twice as much. The same is true with your assignments. If you consistently take yourself out of your comfort zone, if you force yourself to take on a challenging task every single time and force yourself to improve, if you hold your feet to the fire and act like a professional, be a professional, you are going to work twice as hard. It might even take you twice as long, but it will pay off double in the end. I want to take a second, right? I want to take a second and I want to apologize to any of you who think my talk so far sounds like common sense or sounds like the same old mumbo jumbo repackaged. I'm sorry. Let me clear that up. I had to give you some specifics. I had to tell you some stuff about the classroom, right? Because that's why you're here, to learn about college, learn about the college experience. And everything I told you was absolutely 100% true, is the reason I am here at UCSD. But now I want to get real on you, all right? And I'm really asking you to hear me. Please, hear this. I remember being your age. I remember exactly what it feels like. When you think about your future, you probably feel like it's light years away. You probably have this expectation that someday things will just change, that you'll transition into a clearly defined adult, that you'll think differently, you'll feel differently, that professionalism will just come with age, and right now you're in a safe zone. Plenty of time before all that real life crap, all that behavioral goodness stuff is expected from you. You probably have good intentions. You'll think that, hey, one day, when I have a career, when I have a family, when my decisions actually have consequence, then I'll do better. You'll be optimistic. You'll think, one day, when the stakes are high, when I have my first job, I'll take on a meaningful task, right? I'll come in early, I'll stay up late, I'll do whatever I have to do to come up with some meaningful, truly valuable, original work. Then then. But just for right now, just for this one assignment, just for this one class, this one semester, this 1 year, this one undergraduate degree, I'm just going to fulfill my obligations. It doesn't work like that. Life is not that easy. There is no magical moment. There's no inflection point where you transform into a promising adult. It doesn't happen. Believe me, I have been waiting for it. It's not there. We're not caterpillars destined to become beautiful butterflies. Most of us are just boring, lazy human beings. And I'm one of them. Luckily, I found something to get me on the right path. But I wasted 10 years of my life. I did nothing. And I'm here today because I want something better for you, and I am not just saying that. I wish I could go back 10 years and talk to myself. I would tell myself this, that every moment you spend as a minimalist, doing the same low-level thing that everyone else is doing, is a moment you train yourself to disappear when real life smacks you in the face. When all the skateboarding is done, and all the partying has stopped, and all the girls are gone, and all you're left with is just a bunch of 30-year-olds just getting by, you will start to feel like one big, massive failure at the real thing, at real life. Please don't think I'm talking down to you. I'm not. I remember, okay? A lot of people my age, they think that high schoolers are completely clueless. I don't. I know you've thought about the difference between the abstract, meaningless stuff and real life. You think about it every time you're in math class. You know that sometimes you're doing these equations and you'll probably never ever use them for as long as you live. And practicing them just seems plain stupid. You know, every time you're in language arts, that you're probably not going to be earning a living writing haikus or love sonnets or dramatic plays, and reading and writing about them just seems like a waste of time. You know that every time you're in PE, that you're probably not going to be the next gold medal Olympian, and you can't help but think about all the other things that you'd rather be doing, anything but this. Well, guess what? Real life ain't that much different. It's really not. You're going to have bosses and coworkers and family and friends who come to you with stupid problems, who waste your time, who make you tired and sweat when you would rather be doing anything else. But part of being a promising adult means being reliable and being dutiful and being consistent. Because in the real world, people need to know that they can depend on you. And it's the training you get when you put yourself in difficult situations, and no matter how much they tick you off every time you see them through, it's that training which prepares you to actually live life, not just make fun of it. Because it's not a game. School, technically, is on paper, but life is on planet Earth. And the sooner you tether yourself to that reality, the better you will get on. Behavioral goodness, it takes time to develop. Just like a physical body, it takes many laps on that treadmill. Behavioral goodness takes many determined decisions to do better, especially in those moments where you just want to relax or call it quits. You're all here on a Saturday at one of the nation's leading prestigious public universities. And I'm proud of you. Because to me, that says that you're not just thinking it. You're not just intending it. You're not just hoping it. Every one of you is already being it. And I thank you very much. Thank you guys.